Hello and welcome to the first episode of the GTLA Lakers 818 podcast. I am your host, Greg Habibi, here with my co-host, Tariq Sheikh. This podcast is for all the true diehard Laker fans. Thank you for joining us on this journey. This is a weekly podcast where we will be discussing recent Laker games and all things Lakers. We're doing this podcast because Tariq and I are huge Laker fans. We're both born and raised and still living in the San Fernando Valley, thus the 818 in our name. We've been close friends since the third grade, and basically almost every time over the last 20 years that we've hung out, we've discussed the Lakers. We both started watching the Lakers in 1996, which was Kobe's first year, and been watching ever since. We decided to turn our weekly conversations about the Lakers after pickup games at LA Fitness into this podcast. And that's the other thing about us. We're hoopers. We've been playing basketball pretty much every week of our lives since we were little. Played high school, travel ball, AAU ball, and these days you can catch us at LA Fitnesses throughout the valley, be it Van Nuys, Northridge, or Universal, so catch us out there. We also play in leagues throughout the valley, and there just doesn't seem to be podcasts out there from people who grew up actually playing basketball. Seems a lot of these podcasters and analysts are all advanced stat guys and probably have never picked up a ball. So we wanted to offer a more traditional perspective on what's going on the court, with more of an eye test approach rather than using crazy formulas and numbers. I want to give a shout out to a couple of people who have either influenced our perspective on the game of basketball or made us want to podcast. First, Stu Lance, the Lakers color commentator. He's been the color commentator for the Lakers our whole Laker lives. We've been listening to Stu Lance for so long, and he's super underrated and has such a great basketball mind. And I'm sure all you Laker fans already know this, but wanted to give a huge shout out to him. Love you, Stu. Lastly, want to give a shout out to Jalen and Jacoby, Bill Simmons, and Zach Lowe, other people who do podcasts that we like. Again, this is a weekly podcast. Can't say right now which day of the week the podcast will be released. Kind of depends on our busy schedules. I work as an attorney, and Tariq and his family own and run a few Baskin-Robbins throughout the valley. And everything we say is just our opinion. We're not trying to pass off that we're the most knowledgeable basketball people in the world or anything like that. We're just huge fans of the Lakers and huge fans of the game of basketball. We're so excited for this new era of Laker basketball.
Stay in your lane.
And we feel like it's an appropriate time to get into the podcast game. Lastly, we're both very new at this and not much computer people, so please excuse if there's any miscues during the podcast while we learn how to use this equipment and software and stuff. Lastly, please follow us on Instagram and Twitter at GTLA Lakers 818_podcast. As soon as we can, we want to make this podcast fun and interactive with all of you and plan to use social media as a tool to accomplish that. Let's get right into it. Today is October 26th. The Lakers have played 4 games already, going 2-2.
2-2, baby.
And it kind of feels similar to the Lakers' 10-10 mark last season. I don't know why, even though it's only been 4 games. But the Lakers had 2 victories, one against the Phoenix Suns, one against the Wizards last night. And both of those were amazing games. I seriously, after the Phoenix game, I said to myself, that was the most memorable and exciting game of the post-Kobe era Lakers. I swear, it was that thrilling.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then the game last night, I could say the same thing. The game against the Wizards, it was overtime game, and the Lakers got a victory, and it was close. It was super fun.
The Phoenix game was a great individual performance by Zoe, and the game last night was just a great team win. A convincing, solid win. It wasn't like Lakers had an exceptionally well shooting night or the Wizards were totally off, but man, Lakers actually played some defense in that fourth quarter, which I'm so happy about, and everyone made shots. I'm talking about Kuzma, Randall stepped up with defense, Ingram carried us in the fourth quarter, and it just seemed like the whole team was in sync.
Definitely. And speaking of Lonzo, he's actually the first person I want to talk about today. After 4 games, small sample size, but we have the statistics here. Let's go over this. Averaging 11.5 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, 1 steal, half a block, shooting 32% from the field, 55% from the free throw line.
Ouch.
And the first thing I want to talk about, though, is the rebounding. Lonzo is, wow, this guy is
9 and 9,
an incredible rebounder. I mean, anyone, to take anybody and say, okay, play 4 games in the NBA. If you get 9 rebounds after 4 games, that's saying something. That's pretty good.
A rookie point guard,
only 19, is he even weigh 200 pounds? I don't even know. But what amazes me is he has like this amazing knack to follow the shot. Like it's kind of, actually I was listening to, who was I listening to? I can't remember if it was Stephen A. Smith, but they were saying it was reminiscent of Dennis Rodman actually. And I kind of agreed. Like he knows
where that ball's coming off.
Yeah, like he watches it and he just kind of goes to where it is. And actually I remember last night against the Wizards, after the first 3 or 4 minutes, I was like, how many rebounds does Lonzo have? And I swear he had 5. And then they announced he had 3, and I thought that was really weird, but whatever.
A couple possessions, actually, I noticed early in the game, in the first quarter, the Wizards took a couple shots, and even when the Lakers shot, it felt like there was only 2 people. I remember a couple instances, there was only 2 yellow jerseys, 2 actually, powder blue jerseys with the Minneapolis Lakers. But it was just Nance, or it would be Lopez, and the other guy would be Ball, like actually in the paint. Not that he got the rebound, but he was actually in there, like a body in there, and fighting with the big man, trying to get that rebound. That says a lot for him.
Yeah, I think his lowest amount of rebounding in a game so far this season has been like 8, I think. I know he's had like 2 9s and 11.
That'll get the job done. I mean, Brook Lopez, that's his weakness, and I think he's making up for that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Next thing to talk about is the assist. I mean, this guy, I still feel like we haven't seen the full array of Lonzo passes. I mean, he's had a lot of. I mean, we've seen just a glimpse of it. We've been watching this guy since he was in high school at Chino Hills. We saw him all at UCLA last year.
UCLA was another level, man.
And even at Summer League was incredible too. I feel like, and he's averaging 9 assists, which, I mean,
that's crazy.
Already insane. But I just feel like, what's to stop him from averaging 15 in a season? I mean, he hasn't even had a full feel of the game yet, man.
Yeah. He's just getting started, and he's already at 9.
Yeah.
That's crazy. One play I want to talk about, I think Ingram got the rebound. And he just there's four Laker jerseys under the basket. Ingram got the rebound. He just literally just gave it to Ball, and within a second, Ball just flung it up over the whole defense, threw it up to Larry Nance. Larry Nance caught that and finished it with the and one layup. And it just made it so easy. Literally in 1 second, Lakers didn't. That was such an easy possession for them for the and one, and the crowd was so into it. You know what? You remember that play?
That pass was crazy because. It was funny because Brook Lopez thought it was for him until he realized there's people ahead of him. And he was like, wait, that pass is terrible. And
was it for Brook Lopez?
No, it was for Nance. It was for Nance, yeah.
Okay.
But Brook he was kind of like trailing only by like 4 feet or something.
Yeah.
And he didn't see he was in front of him. But then, dude, just right on. But he threw it over like 4 people. And it just landed.
Court.
Yeah, and it landed right in his hands and one layup. It was reminiscent of that pass, remember, to Kuzma in Summer League.
Yeah.
I mean, just in terms of the length, I guess, that one was just... Yeah, but this one might have been tougher just because there was 3 people right around Nance.
It's not like he was running for. He was almost underneath the basket.
Yeah,
and it just landed right in his lap, and he just had to turn and finish it.
Yeah, passing is definitely the part of Lonzo's game. He makes watching basketball so fun. It's just beautiful to watch him.
The game looks good.
Yeah, and
makes me want to watch.
Yeah, I mean, he's just so smart, so intellectual.
Dude, it's contagious.
Yeah.
Have you been noticing that? I mean, we've been making the extra pass. Not just Lonzo. I think it starts with him. But, the Lakers are moving the ball around that 3. Everyone's making that extra pass. No one looks selfish on the court. Everyone seems unselfish. And, dude, that's a recipe for winning. When you don't have, that solid, all-star, superstar go-to guy, it's got to be a team game. And it only happens with passing. Yeah, no doubt. I'm looking forward so much to all the Lonzo highlights. I hope he's with us for the next 20 years. And we just have the most beautiful highlight reel of passes, along the lines of Magic, LeBron. I think I don't know. I know it's a weird comparison, but I see a lot of Lonzo or LeBron and Lonzo, or Lonzo and LeBron. I don't know, not in every asset of the game, but just passing.
Just like having the ball in his hands and like just making anything happen. Like just passing it to a wide open dude for three. I mean, how many? Last night I remember I remember Pope for a wide open three at the end of the game. He knocked it down the corner, hit Kuzma for some open ones.
He got that one old board and hit. Was it Kuzma or Pope for a three in like overtime or the fourth quarter? It was a big one though.
Yeah. Next, let's talk about these percentages. As I said, he's shooting 32% from the field right now. And interestingly, is actually averaging the most attempts per game on the Lakers at 14. 32% from the field, 55% from the free throw line.
That's terrible.
Hey, at least he's showing confidence and he's putting that ball up. So that's a good sign. But imagine if he was making the shots. Imagine if he was even shooting like 40 or 45% from the field. I mean, we would have won that game against the Pelicans. That was a close game.
And in college, he was the most efficient player in college basketball. So these numbers will go up. I feel like
I think he's just getting a feel for that NBA speed, that NBA level.
I don't see him being that confident. I mean, not that he looks unconfident, but I don't see him. He needs to shoot more. I mean,
he does.
He needs to shoot more. So
a couple of those shots yesterday, those threes, they looked like they were going to drop. They look good.
Yeah, they did.
We both know. I mean, after watching him, we both know he can make that shot without a doubt. But I mean, it just happened to be a bad shooting night. It happened to be a really bad shooting night for him, and Lakers got that W, which is good.
Yeah, and these numbers actually, him leading the team in field goal attempts, it's definitely skewed because after 4 games, he had the one game against Phoenix where he shot 27 times. So that definitely helped raise that average up. And then the free throw, 55%.
He hasn't gone to the line much, has he?
No, he's averaging 2.3 attempts a game. But one thing to look out for is his free throws, because in college he shot under 70%. He was in the 60 percentile range, like I think somewhere around 65 or so.
I'm sure he'll get better. He knows what he's got to work on.
Yeah. And the whole drama and stuff with Lonzo, it started with the first game of the season. I want to talk about that first Clipper game and him going up against Pat Beverly. In my view, I kind of thought it was the best thing that could happen to Lonzo, because Patrick Beverly is absolutely the worst, and by worst I mean best, like opposing point guard defender. And
scrappy.
If that's what you see your first game, that sets the bar high for you to where
you know what to expect.
Yeah, you know what to expect, and everything after that's going to be a little softer after him. So even though he didn't play that good that first game, I thought it was truly a blessing in disguise. I would rather him go against Beverly than against a non-defending point guard. Like, I thought that was really good for him.
Oh, for sure, man. I totally agree. Definitely on the same page with you on that. And yeah, no, it's good. Like, he needs that. You know, he needs to feel that. You know, so he knows what to expect. Like, everyone's out after him, as they say, because of his dad. But it's good he experiences that, and now he's going to be coming ready, you know.
And speaking of his dad,
stay in your lane.
He just keeps
staying in your lane.
He keeps staying in the media, and this is so interesting to me, because before the Wizards game, you know, LeVar came out and said he guaranteed basically a Laker win, saying, "My boy don't lose games back to back," basically. And I watched First Take, I watched Undisputed, and both Stephen A. and Skip Bayless, they like were saying that what LeVar's doing is a disservice to his son and blah, blah, blah. They're just completely bashing him. And Skip Bayless has been on LeVar's team this whole time. He loves LeVar until that episode, and he's like, I'm off the LeVar bandwagon. And I can understand where these people are coming from. They're like, oh, he's gonna... But like, I think it's actually a good thing, because if this was the 80s or 90s, I would say you're putting your son in danger, because back then the NBA was rougher. I mean, back then, and even Charles Barkley said, if I was playing with him, I would have taken his head off. And I'm sure he's exaggerating, but no, like, if this was the 80s and someone's dad's tripping off, they would, when he came down the lane, they were going to give him elbows to the face. But in today's NBA, like, it's so soft. Like, no one, what does that mean when John Wall says, oh, I'm coming full throttle, or Gortat says, oh, he's going to torture Lonzo? Like, in the NBA today.
What does that mean?
Yeah, that doesn't. I mean,
okay. Post him up every single play down the court or something.
Yeah, it's like you're not gonna do anything. So, and then it's so funny. The next day, everyone's like, "Oh, LeVar. Oh, now it's actually a strategy. He's making it so that John Wall is gonna try to go at him and throw their game off." I mean,
look. LeVar, I think he's done an amazing job with Lonzo, and only time will tell with his other two boys. But I think he's done an amazing job coaching his son since he's a kid, and it's made what Lonzo is today. Like it's been all LeVar. Like Lonzo's only seen his dad as the only coach. Obviously, he's high school and UCLA, but he knows what he's doing. I think the great players, they thrive under pressure and they can handle the pressure. And he knows his son's potential. He knows what his son can do, and he has high expectations for his son. And Lonzo has high expectations for himself, and he knows he's got to handle that pressure. But there was a quote today. I don't know if it was today or from yesterday, but Lonzo's like. He said that he's just ready to help the team win. Let me find this quote. Okay, Algie knew this quote on Lonzo. Algie knew everybody was going to come at me like that. I'm not going to get into any Twitter war. I'm going to go out there and help my team. And LeVar, he's even said, look we're not worried about Lonzo's stats. We're trying to get that W, which I'm so happy about. I thought LeVar would, kind of, give me, I don't know, make me worried about Lonzo's play, but just the fact that he says that it's not about his stats, it's about getting that W, it just gives me assurance.
Yeah, definitely. And what's interesting to me about LeVar is you would think he would be the kind of dad who like, oh, my son should shoot every shot, or I want my son to score, but he really has like a really good view of basketball in the sense that he's not about stats and he's not about his son necessarily.
He knows the game. He knows the game.
Yeah, and he'll say, oh, Lonzo, he's got to come close the game out. But he doesn't mean he needs to come in and score every time. I mean, he can't. That is one way Lonzo can finish the game off, just like he did in Phoenix with those 3 left-handed layups back to back to back to win the game. But he just means put the ball in his hands, which I think is the best idea in the world. Let him have the ball, and
he's going to create plays.
Yeah,
and find guys. Just like how he found guys yesterday. I mean, he got, just like you said earlier, he hit KCP for a 3. He hit Kuzma for a 3.
Yeah.
He even had a layup in overtime. Finally, he got on the board. It felt like forever, but
yeah.
I mean, he seemed poised and he seemed under control. Like he knew what the right play was. He knew what to do towards the end of the game. I think he learned a little bit something from that Pelicans game.
Yeah, and by the way, John Wall only 18 points. Shot, I think, 7 for 22. So,
dude, first
peace,
quarter,
bro. Peace.
You remember that he stripped the Wall twice, clean strips.
Yeah. No, he did. I remember that.
Some good defense.
I have one comment thing to say about Lonzo. I wish he could hear this. Maybe one day he will. But he has this weird habit. It's a bad habit of his, going up for layups with his left hand when it's available on the right hand. He's missed, like, at least I can remember 3, 4.
I think he knows that.
Like, where it's like, I don't know, he likes using his left. He does like it. But if you're on the right side of the basket and the easier shot is the right-handed shot, you got to go with your right.
Yeah, Stu Lance called that out.
Yeah?
I remember,
Yeah, like because he's missed at least 4 layups this season where if he just went with his right hand, he would have made it. And instead he did some fling left-handed shot. Like,
I think in the back of his mind, he knows. I think he was just trying to put a little extra, finesse on that. But I'm sure, with time, he's going to know that, okay, let me just make it easy for myself,
Yeah. But super excited about Lonzo, and we'll talk about him some more. But next I want to talk about Brandon Ingram. Let's look at his stats. He is averaging, after 4 games, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, half a steal, half a block, 42% from the field, and 33% from the three-point line. Now, what I want to talk about with Ingram is he's been either a stud or a dud in the 4 games so far. Let me explain. He had 2 stud games. Against the Suns, he had 25 points.
Career high?
Yeah, career high, 25 points. He hit 3 threes and shot 64% from the field. And against the Wizards last night, he had double-double, 19 points, 10 rebounds on 50% shooting.
Yeah, he carried us in that 4th quarter, though.
Yeah, had the game-winning tip and layup. And I think he has the weirdest mechanics to drive to the basket, and we can talk about it another day maybe, because that just let's segue into this real quick. That tipping he got, thank God he has long arms, because that layup, that shot he shot was just, it was ugly. I mean, I don't know. He has the weirdest way to drive, I think. Anyways, and then so his two dud games are this: the first game against the Clippers, 12 points on 3 of 15 shooting, it's 20% shooting, and then against New Orleans, 7 points on 33% shooting. So my thing with Ingram is, the sign of a great player and superstars, I mean, is consistency. And that's going to be what I'm looking for this season. Like Ingram, if whatever your averages are, you got to hit them every night. I mean, if I'd rather him get 13 at night, guarantee me 13 a night rather than like have 21 game, then 5 the next, and like one game you're sleepy and the next game you're not.
Stay off the weed.
What do you
gotta open your eyes, bro.
What do you think about this stud and dud performances after 4 games for Ingram?
The average is there. He's got 16 points. The consistency offensively, obviously he's not there, but I see him, he's aggressive. Like every game he comes out like he knows he's the main guy to score on this team. I think the bad games, he likes that mid-range jumper where he comes off that pick and roll or pick and pop, and the guys are giving him space, and he's almost falling in love with that mid-range jumper. Some games it falls in, and some games it just keeps like rattling in and out. It just looks like it's just like a bad brick.
He shot one dangerous one yesterday. I remember I texted you. I think it was the end of regulation when he pulled up on the fast break.
Semi-transition fast break.
Yeah, that's, I mean...
He shot that free throw line jumper.
Because John Wall is in front of him. I'm like, don't pull up, man. You got to go at, that's a dangerous shot.
Yeah, I mean, he knows when he's got a smaller guy, he looks to post him up. He's got a little bit of a post game, and he can, finish around the bucket. He can definitely drive the ball. Sometimes his gathering, as you said, his mechanics look a little, they don't look, what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't look
fluid,
normal. But he's being aggressive. Like the attempts are there. I think he's just got to work on his mid-range game a little bit. And if that mid-range starts falling, trust me, the defense is going to put a lot of pressure on the defense. They're going to have to stick on him. And when they stick on him, he knows he can blow by them. And he's got a length, and he can finish around guys.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what his averages are, midway through the season. I mean, 16 a game, that's pretty respectable. Magic said before the season he'd like to see Ingram at 19 or 20, and
me too.
I think it's possible. I mean, I
think
he can do it. Yeah, he definitely can.
Those games. He had the bad shooting games. Like if he just knocked down a couple more jumpers, he'd be up there.
Yeah.
He seemed like he had a couple bad misses, or when he does miss, it feels like the ball rattles around the rim. It looks like it's gonna go in, and it just pops back out.
Yeah. So Ingram, your challenge for the rest of the season: consistency. No games under 10 points. You're too long, too tall, too skilled, too talented. Let's get it. Next, I'm going to move on to one of our favorite players. And for some reason, someone people hate on.
JC.
Jordan Clarkson. Okay.
JC, my boy.
Okay. I have some crazy numbers I'm going to share with you. But I just want to first talk about our love for this guy. In my opinion, Jordan Clarkson has been the best and most consistent Laker in the post-Kobe era. And by post-Kobe era, I mean since the day Kobe tore his Achilles, because Kobe never came back from that. And people forget, Jordan Clarkson came in the same year with Randall, before D'Angelo, before Nance, before Ingram, and he was playing under Byron Scott, who was known to not play young players.
He didn't even play the first half of that
season.
He
didn't play that. He didn't start playing until January, basically, and was playing the point guard position, which we'll talk about later, what position he's playing, and made all-rookie first team, which is something no other of the Lakers' young players can say. D'Angelo was all-rookie second team. Ingram, all-rookie second team. Randall, he had unfortunately broke his foot, and he never had a chance to make any team. Nance did not make any team. But let's look at his stats. He is averaging right now 17 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists, on 50% shooting, 47% from the three-point line.
That will get the job done.
Making 2 threes a game.
Wow.
Yeah, but let me share with you some of these crazy numbers, some of these crazy stuff that's going on with him.
Dude, I love JC, man.
Why are people hate on Clark? I listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot of people. Everyone hates on this guy. I mean, not hate, but everyone just thinks he's whatever. Like, he is a baller. Listen to this. Tell me if this is baller or not. Maybe we need Lonzo to tell us if it's baller or not.
Stay in your lane.
Okay, in the first game this season against the Clippers, Jordan Clarkson had 17 points in 20 minutes.
Wow.
That's game 1 of the season. In game 2, against the let me see.
So you're saying first game 20 minutes?
Oh no, actually my bad. And against the Clippers, the first game of the season, he had 18 points in 22 minutes.
Okay, 22 minutes.
18 points.
Wow.
That's almost a point a minute. Against the Suns, the next game, he had 17 points in 17 minutes.
17 minutes. Wow, 17 and 17?
What?
17 points in 17 minutes. That is a point a minute production.
So the first game, 22 minutes.
18 points.
The second game, 17 minutes.
17 points.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man,
And then listen to this. Then the next game against the Pelicans, he had 25 points in 24 minutes.
24 minutes. 25 points in 24 minutes? Dude, you know he led that charge to bring us back against the Pelicans.
Yeah,
it was all him.
Yeah.
It was all him.
He did.
Dude, so look at that. Like 22 minutes, 17 minutes, 24 minutes. I mean, he's not even coming close to the 30-minute mark in a 48 game. And he seems like the most efficient, most productive player on the court, on the team. I don't know. Do you have something against him? Like, please don't tell me you have something against him. Like, he just comes in and he just puts on a show. He's exciting to watch. He makes plays. He makes stuff happen. And he brings the team in the game. He just brings just a ton of energy. And he just, ever since he started on the Lakers, he's never been the loud guy. He's always been quiet. He's just put his head down and just played the game. And he's improved every year. Like, it seems like he's gotten better and better.
Yep.
And I mean, you got to let whoever's performing, whoever's playing. You said it. Luke said it early in the season. Whoever's playing well, they're the ones who are going to be getting the minutes. He's earning his minutes, and I think he's got to be cracking that 30-minute mark.
Yeah.
Like, no, I think he's got to be playing majority of the minutes, even though he's not starting. I think he's got to get like more than like 25, 30 minutes a game.
Yeah, I challenge any of the Clarkson naysayers or haters. You find me any player who in 3 NBA games pretty much was averaging a point a minute. 3 games in a row. I mean, like I said, 18 points in 22 minutes.
Coming off the
17
bench.
points in 17 minutes. 25 points in 24 minutes. I mean, that means basically if you put him in for a 48-minute game, he's going to get you 50 points. Like, that's absurd. Now, next what I want to talk about with Clarkson is the lineups. Now, I got to give kudos to Luke Walton because he finally is starting to let Clarkson play the point guard. I don't know what he has against it in the past. I mean, at the end of last season, maybe the last 10 games or something, he finally let Clarkson play point guard.
And
oddly enough, that's when the Lakers actually won a few of their games last season. And then, like I said before, he won all rookie first team playing point guard for us. So, this guy can do that. So the first time I saw it was in the Pelicans game. He started playing the point guard in the second quarter. And then last night against the Wizards, in the first quarter, he was the first sub off the bench for Lonzo. He came in for Lonzo and played point guard. So I'm really happy to see that. Happy to see that Caruso's not coming in.
Oh, God.
And even though Tyler Ennis is okay, like, I just would rather see Clarkson.
I like Caruso, but I mean, he shouldn't be coming in. Like, he's a third string, barely making it off the G League. He should not be the second guy in.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, Tyler Ennis, I think, should be coming in before. He should be in front of Caruso.
Solid.
Ennis was good in preseason, good at the end of last year for us. So yeah, JC, keep it up, man. We got your back. We love you.
JC.
Yep. Next, we want to talk about Brook Lopez, our biggest acquisition this summer. This is his 9th season in the NBA. He has career averages of 18 and 7. He's actually from North Hollywood, California, where we are actually currently recording this podcast. Go 818, go Valley, San Fernando Valley. What's up with it? And we got him in the D'Angelo Russell trade, which is going to be a topic for another day. We got to do that maybe on the next podcast, the D'Angelo talk. Actually, interesting point. We actually play Brooklyn next Friday.
Ooh.
And I'm pretty sure it's in LA.
It's in LA, huh?
So I hope D'Angelo's missed the last 2 games, but I think he'll be ready for that. And I'm really excited for that game. But
you think he's gonna get booed, or you think he's going to cheer for him?
I think he'll get more cheers than anything. Yeah. Laker fans liked him.
Yeah,
general. Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, so we got him in the D'Angelo trade. We traded D'Angelo for Brook Lopez in the 27th pick, who ended up being Kyle Kuzma. So for any of you huge D'Angelo fans, you can feel a little better that at least we traded D'Angelo for Brook Lopez, who's a proven player, and Kyle Kuzma, who is a baller.
Kuzma, oh my God, where to start with this guy?
Yeah, well, we'll get to him in a little bit. But so Brook Lopez is on a 1-year, $22.6 million deal. It'll be interesting to see what happens at the end of the season. But after 4 games, his averages are 14 points, 6 rebounds, just under a block, a steal, only 40% from the field, and 33% from the 3-point line, making 1.3 a game. And that's the big thing with Brook Lopez, and what I thought was smart getting him is he's a stretch 5. I mean, just last season, he started shooting the 3. I think he made close to 150 last year, which was, he almost averaged like 2 a game on pretty good percentages. And what do you think of his start? What do you think of his first 4 games?
I think he's still really early in the season in terms of his field goal percentage. I think you said it was at 40.
Yeah, he's a career 50%.
Yeah, I think as the season goes on, he gets a few more games under his belt. I'm sure that percentage is going to increase. But I mean, he can definitely stretch the floor. He knocks down that 3, like you said. He has moves to the basket. You know, he has like
soft
a nice
touch.
little jump hook, soft touch. I just think it's not him, but I would like to see him be a better force on the defensive end and get that rebound. Like it seems like these other guys, any center that he's going up against is easily able to box him out and get those rebounds.
Yeah, he's pretty heavy-footed. Like he's not that agile. He's kind of like he kind of lumbers around. But yeah, he needs to improve on pick and roll defense. Definitely. And I think, and interestingly, the last 2 games, he wasn't in at the end of the games. Last night in the last 5 minutes and in overtime, he wasn't in. And then against the Pelicans, the last 5 minutes, he wasn't in. So it's interesting that, he's kind of billed as our, best or second best, I guess, offensive player. And but
I think he's good for like a slow game, and I think the Lakers are looking to run. And against the Pelicans, against the Wizards, I mean, it seems like we're getting all of our points. I mean, we look good running and spreading the floor and just fast breaking. And I think if we need to slow the game down, I think that's when we need Lopez, and he can knock down that jumper. He's a big man out there.
Yeah, no, definitely. I like him. I like that he's on a 1-year deal. Like it's not like a lockup. We have him forever. I mean, he's a good player. It just depends on what the roster looks like next year. He can fit really well with a certain roster, and on other rosters, he probably won't fit that well. So I like the flexibility we have with this contract. Next, I want to talk about one of our favorite players again, and definitely one of my favorite players, Larry Nance. Love this guy.
Junior.
This guy is Mr. Intangibles, Mr. Defense,
Mr. Hustle.
Mr. Hustle. I got some crazy numbers on him too. But after 4 games, he's averaging 13 points. It's pretty good for him.
That's really not bad.
Yeah.
13. I would not expect that. Really, 13?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
13 points, 8 rebounds in 22 minutes.
It's a quiet 13.
Shooting 62% from the field. The one thing about him that I don't.
Before halftime yesterday, he had 18 and 10 at halftime.
Yeah, he did.
He kept us in that game.
And I thought that was interesting that after having such a good first half, he wasn't in at the end of the game. I mean, it was Randall and Kuzma. I mean, whatever, the flow of the game, Luke Wall made the decision. And but I mean, man, yeah. Anyways, The one thing about Larry Nance so far that's not so good is he's only shot 1 3 after 4 games. After all this talk this summer about, I'm shooting hundreds of threes every day.
Last summer.
Yeah, even last summer. I'm shooting all these threes. He's 0 for 1 after 4 games. And his biggest problem, and we always talk about it, is he needs to shoot when he's wide open. Like, too many times he catches it free throw line area and he's wide open, but he just has this habit. It's like habit to him. It's like to not shoot and to turn and make a pass or to dribble immediately. Like, Nance, you gotta shoot. And I have I marked a lot of footage, and we gotta get our footage up on our Instagram and Twitter pages.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of instances where Nance is catching it wide open. You gotta shoot it, bro. And shoot the 3, man. I mean, you'll never know if you're good or not if you don't shoot them. You've only shot 1 after 4 games.
Yeah, even Stu Lance called it out in one of the games where Nance catches the ball and he doesn't look at the basket. And when you don't look at the basket, it gives no pressure to the defense. They know that you're not looking to score, so they can sag off of you and they can help all day. So you can't really even create a play if you're not putting any pressure on the defense. And I'm sure once he gets to that offensive touchdown, he finds his spots and his positions on where he can be effective. I think it's going to be a lot easier for the Lakers to even run that half-court offense.
Yeah, definitely. And the biggest storyline for him this year is that he's actually starting. This is the first.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. It makes a lot of sense to me. I've always been a Nance over Randall kind of guy, actually. And I just think it makes sense just fundamentally from this standpoint. I mean, our starting lineup features our most potent offensive players. Ingram, Pope, Brook Lopez. I mean, who's supposed to be? I mean, Clarkson. Anyways. Yeah. And Lonzo can score. I mean, he averaged like 15 a game at UCLA. Nance is perfect as like the 5th offensive option, Just
clean up, finish around the bucket.
Yeah, like he really doesn't want to even shoot, which is what we were just talking about. But if he comes off the bench, he's thrust into the role of being the 2nd or 3rd offensive option, and like that's not who he is. But if he plays with people that like to score, then he can use all his energy to do the defense and rebounding and like
on the floor.
Yeah, and so I think it's really good that he's starting. I've been rooting for that to happen since 2 years ago. I remember I've been saying it actually. So I like it. And it just putting Rand on the bench just gives us more punch off the bench.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. I mean, Lonzo, our playmaker, gets out of the game, from that first unit, and the second unit comes in. You need that guy who's going to make plays. And I think Randall's perfect for that. He's going to get the ball and he's going to push, and he can make stuff happen.
Yeah, and interestingly, like Brook Lopez, the last 2 games, he was not in the crunch time. At the last 5 minutes of regulation yesterday against the Wizards and overtime, he did not play. And against the Pelicans, the last, 5-6 minutes, he was not in. So I know Luke Walton is tinkering with the lineups right now. It's just something interesting to note. Anyways, let's talk about his, competition, Mr. Julius Randle, who is averaging 10 points, 5 rebounds, 64% shooting. And so he kind of has the same issue, I think, as Nance in the sense that after 4 games, he's only shot 2 threes. He's 1 for 2. And the one he made was that big one yesterday against the Wizards.
It was a big one.
Like, that was right at the end of regulation, if I recall. Like, in the last minute, I think, or something. Mm-hmm. So that was nice. I mean, you got to
put us within 1, I believe.
You got to shoot the 3. I mean, the NBA is turning into a league of stretch 4s and even stretch 5 nows. I just think, okay, you might suck at shooting, but you don't know unless you're shooting it. I mean, after 4 games combined, Randall and Nance have shot 3 3-pointers. I'd love to see them shoot them and miss them. So at least we know what we have. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And I think it all ties in with, like, putting that pressure on the defense. If the defense knows, like, hey, you're not going to be shooting threes, you're not known as a 3-point shooter, we're just going to sag off of you. And if you can't make that 3, like, they're going to give you that 3. They're going to be like, oh, shoot it. Please shoot it. They're going to beg you to shoot that shot. So they could just there's going to be an easy defensive possession for them. This guy's wide open. Let him shoot it. Let's just get that board and go the other way. So he's got to be able both of them, they got to be able to start putting up that three, and they got to start knocking that down. But I think Randall, he's had like definitely some really high moments, and then he has some low moments. But I think he's finding his groove, and he's just finding, like, I think, hey, if he's gonna be playing better coming off the bench, and I think he's happy with. Hopefully he'll be happy with that. Just coming off the bench. But if it's gonna make his game better, and if it's gonna make the team better, I don't see any reason why he shouldn't come off the bench.
Yeah, and there were reports that Randall was frustrated with the benching. Actually, Luke Walton came out and said it himself, which I thought was interesting. And he put a lot of work in this summer. If you saw the footage, it was all on social media. This guy lost a lot of weight.
A lot leaner.
Yeah, a lot leaner, but still strong. Apparently, he worked out a lot, but he's got limited turnovers. Got to be able to shoot. What's actually interesting? Because last year he was diming a lot. Right now he's averaging only 1 assist a game. I mean, I don't know if it's just because Lonzo has the ball in his hands more, but we like to see those assist numbers go, because that's actually one thing why a lot of people like Randall, is because of his willingness to pass and ability to make passes. So
I think same thing. It's still early in the season.
Yeah.
Those averages, they'll go up. Everything is kind of skewed a little bit right now. But I wanted to touch the end of the game yesterday, dude. This guy put on a defensive clinic, I thought.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he can switch on anyone. He switched on Beal. He switched on Wall, and he just kept his ground. Excellent defensive stance. And he had this nice block, which ended up being a shot clock violation on John Wall. That was a big play. And then even towards the end of the game, I think Wall drove it in hard, and he just kept his hands up, and he took it strong. I think he took an elbow to the face, and it went off of Wall, and it ended up being Lakers ball. And I think that was really the key of the game, and that's what really turned it around for them, was Randall's defense, really. Yeah,
he definitely kept that play with Wall, was the big defensive stop of the game. He kept his verticality, and it was good to see, because he's not known as being like a rim protector, and he has short arms, so
he got his stops.
But that was good for him, because of this. Because another kudos to Luke Walton for this. He's now actually playing Randall at center, which is something I've been wanting him to do for a while. In the NBA today, it's tough. It's hard to get away with playing traditional 4 and 5s, and the word by traditional I mean 4s and 5s that can't shoot. I mean, nowadays teams are actually starting to even have all 5 shooters. Run. Look at the Mavericks starting Harrison Barnes at the 4 and Dirk at the 5. Look at the Cavs starting Crowder at the 4, Love at the 5. Look at the Celtics starting Jason Tatum at the 4, Horford at the 5. I mean, Randall, especially now with Kuzma there and the lack of minutes at that power forward spot and the forward spots in general, with Brewer, Randall needs to. I think Randall should be our backup center, and Bogut should be the 3rd string center.
I agree with you.
Let Randall and Kuzma come in as the 4 and the 5, and instead of, there's not enough minutes of the power forward to go around.
I think we had Ingram, Kuzma, and Randall at the end of the game.
Yeah, at the end of the game, the lineup was Lonzo.
When you're 5, Randall, when you're 5, can get the ball and just run and push.
Yeah.
Dude, that puts you at an advantage, against any team. You're a little bit smaller in height, but you got 3 long guys, or 2 long guys, and Randall, he could play the big man too. He's physical. And you get any of those guys can all just get boards, and they can all push, and it just keeps the defense guessing. They don't know who to guard.
Yeah. I like what like I said, I like what Luke Walton's doing. I think it's good. We talk about Clarkson playing the 1, love it. Randall playing the 5, love it. And next, let's talk about Mr. Kuzma, the man himself, the steal of the draft. Steal of the draft, Kyle Kuzma. I love this guy. This guy is really good at basketball, and
looks like a veteran now.
Yeah, he does. Let's look at his numbers. He's averaging 15 points, 4 rebounds, an assist, a steal, 53% shooting.
Wow. That will get the job done.
Only 25% from the 3-point line right now, but he's making 1 a game out of 4. But I think that will improve. We got Kyle Kuzma, as I said earlier, in the D'Angelo Russell trade. And this guy, since Summer League, preseason, the season now. I mean, he's averaging 15 a game. He's a late round first pick. This guy is the surprise and steal the draft, man. This guy, I thank you, Magic Johnson, for doing some research and diligence and finding this guy. Like, this is, we needed this pick.
Man, he comes in and he just looks so confident out there. He doesn't look like a rookie at all. And even yesterday, I think I'm not sure if he had a great shooting night, but the shots that he missed, man, he catches that thing and he just shoots it with confidence. Regardless if it goes in or he misses it, he just feels like he's going to make every single shot. And he goes up, he can drive the ball, he can dribble it, he can post up, he can shoot the three, he can take it to the rack. I mean, what can't he do? He can play defense too. He's long, He's a surprise and is a pleasant surprise, really.
My favorite thing about him is the way his body moves with the ball, without the ball. He's so fluid. Like it looks like he could spin, do like a 360 in like less time than the average human being. Like he's so mobile, and even though he's 6'8", though, you know what I mean? Like he's fast and he's so agile, and it's like. It's such a weapon, especially in today's NBA, where you gotta be able to switch screens and you want stretch fours. And he could in the NBA today, he could play the 5 even. I swear, it's not a problem. Like, what's his rebounds? What did I say? 4 rebounds. Yeah, I'm not sure. I really haven't. I gotta look at his rebounding some more. I haven't really watched him see his, but
I mean, he's got that length for sure.
Hey, and this guy, I mean, he's got a winner's mentality. We won he won Finals MVP of the Summer League. We won the championship. He's come in, even with all the Lonzo hype, he's not backing down. Like, he's just doing, okay, no, I'm gonna do my thing. He's very confident. And one thing I heard was that all the players really like him, and they even showed him enough respect. I remember at one point in one of the games, the other team got like a technical or something, and they actually let him shoot the free throw. Usually, like, the veterans will take that because they want a point or something. Like, it was like Nance and someone else who's not that good at free throws. They were like, all right, they just let him. I thought that was really cool. Like, and apparently he's like really great in the locker room, and so super excited about him. This guy, I mean, yeah, he's so young. I mean,
you heard the rumors that it's about the Lakers' new big three. Ingram, and Ball are supposed to be the Lakers' big three now.
Hey, I like it.
I like it too.
And there was one, I don't remember which game it was, but there actually was, Luke Walton had a lineup where Ingram and Kuzma were playing the 2 and the 3, and I loved it. Like, I love that. Like, I would love to see that. I mean, because that team's going to be so long.
If they gel and they get it together, that's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, if somehow they could get another stretch player to play the 4, then that's going to be the longest, the most fluid team. Like, if Nance or Randall could just shoot that 3, like, that would be awesome. But yeah, no, Kuzma, exciting year. It'll be interesting to see it'd be really cool. Imagine Lonzo and him make all rookie first team. That'd be
awesome.
Incredible. Next, I want to talk about someone who's apparently the best player on the Lakers right now, Mr. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope.
KCP.
Averaging a team high 17 points a game, averaging a team high 36 minutes a game. Granted, he only played in 2 games because of suspension. But yeah, 17 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 50% shooting, 40% from the 3-point line, making 2.5 a game. And in case you don't know anything about Pope, this is his 5th year in the league. He spent his whole career, but definitely the last 3 or 4 years on the Detroit Pistons. Last season with the Pistons, he averaged 14, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 threes a game. And yeah, he's known as he's basically like a prototypical 3-and-D guy. I remember last year he got some votes for all defensive team, even though he's not a really well-known player. That says a lot. If someone's not a household name and they're getting votes for all defensive team, that means they're doing something that people are noticing.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, man, he's a solid pickup, I think. Solid veteran guy. And when they say 3-and-D, man, this guy, he can shoot that 3 ball with confidence, and he knocks it down. I think he has, what's his percentage? You know his 3-point percentage?
Yeah, it was 42.
42, wow.
On 6 attempts. 2.5, 6 attempts, 42%.
Dude, that will get the job done. And man, he gets in those passing lanes. He's quick. He's got a really quick first step. He gets in those passing lanes. He's got great hands. He loves to bother the defender. He's really scrappy like that. Man, he's unselfish too. He's a really underrated passer. Like he creates plays. He can drive the ball, and he's a willing passer. I mean, he has the open shot, but he'll make that extra pass.
Yeah, and there are two main reasons and good reasons why the Lakers got him. The first is for like we were talking about his defense, but like for example, last night against the Wizards, like Pope was the one actually guarding John. He guarded John Wall more than Lonzo did.
Yeah.
And that's what it's gonna be like all season. Like it's kind of like how the Warriors do it with Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, where Klay always takes the tougher guard matchup. It's gonna be like that all year. Pope's gonna always take the tougher matchup. And it's a good thing. It's good.
In his post-game interview, I remember him saying like he doesn't back down from the challenge. He actually likes the challenge, and he's ready to go at any guard. And he's like, John Wall, that's fine, but like I'm ready to go. I like the challenge. And he said that.
Yeah, and along those lines, I remember at the end of regulation when Bradley Beal went to the free throw line, Pope went right into his face and was talking smack to him, and he ended up missing. And I have that. We got to put that up on our Instagram page because I have that clip. We'll get that up.
I really wonder what he was exactly saying.
Yeah, no, I wanted to because I remember I saw that and I was like, oh, he's gonna miss one. I hope because he did, and that was.
Did he miss both of those?
No, I remember he made the first, I think, and then I'm thinking he missed the second.
One.
Yeah. And then maybe the second reason why we got Pope, and this is the real reason we got Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. He is his agent is Rich Paul of Clutch Sports, which is the same agent as LeBron. It's the agency LeBron basically started with his friends from high school. And so Pope is actually meant to just be like the middleman between to communicate to LeBron what's happening, basically. Yeah. Like we have an in with LeBron through this. So like because LeBron, he wants to know, what's the future like, in case we can get him, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, he's our way of us talking, to having a line of communication on an everyday basis with LeBron's agent, basically. That's the reason we signed him.
There's a will, there's a way. They say it's not legal, but when there's a will, there's a way.
Smart. I mean, Magic Johnson is a genius. Like, he signed him just to a 1-year deal. It's crazy that he actually was willing to sign a 1-year deal because he's young. He's not even 27. He's like 25, 26. People usually at that age are not looking for 1-year deals. That's risky. I mean, if you get injured, that's really risky. But somehow Magic convinced him to do a 1-year, $18 million contract, which it might be
reasonable.
Yeah, it's reasonable. I mean, yeah, because it's 1 year, it's reasonable. I think the Sixers are paying JJ Redick like $22 million for 1 year. So,
JJ who?
Yeah, but yeah, that's the real reason we got Pope, is to have an in and a line of communication with LeBron James, and it's genius, I think.
Hey man, I didn't even know that. Actually, that's definitely. No, I agree with you for sure. That's smart. That's smart.
Yeah. Okay. Now we talked about all like the main players. We'll give some love to Corey Brewer and Josh Hart and Tyler Ennis.
I like Josh Hart.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Dude, the little time that he's got on the court, man, he's definitely like he puts it all out there. That effort and the defense, man. He came up with a couple of big plays against the Pelicans. He just ripped the ball. I don't know I think it was from Cousins or someone. He got an offensive rebound, scored a layup, and he was part of that drive and that Mr. Momentum that we had. And even in yesterday's game, I mean, sometimes you don't need, every single player doesn't need to be a scorer. You need those defensive stoppers like a KCP. And man, as a rookie, he's coming. He looks good. He's solid. He looks like he's under control. He doesn't do anything out of his range or out of his scope. And he plays within himself, and I really like him. I think he's a good pickup.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was at God, what school is he at? Not UConn. Villanova. For I think he was a 4-year player there, and he was a part of 2 championship teams. So he has a lot of experience with big games, and he plays within himself. He plays hard. Shout out to him. I hope he continues to play well. Actually, and interestingly, in the Pelicans game, he actually had the highest plus minus. He didn't even play that long, but I think it was mostly because of Clarkson. Yeah. But anyways, next topic I want to talk about is the lineups and Luke Walton and the coaching. The first game this season against the Clippers was a disaster. Luol Deng started. Caruso was the backup point guard. Bogut was the backup center. And I really think that Magic Johnson like had a talk with Luke Walton after that game.
I think Luke Walton still thought that they were in preseason. I don't think he figured like, okay, regular season has started. Like, we got to really tighten up the lineups. And I think he was in preseason mode. I remember the first game, I was just totally bewildered on why Luol Deng was starting when he barely even played in preseason. And I think it was like the 9-minute mark. I think Luol had a bad play or a turnover. He missed a layup or something. And Chris Webber was like, Luke Walton's got to get Luol Deng out of the game. They went through a timeout. And it's like at the 7.5-minute mark, they come back from the timeout, and he's still in the game. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what is going on? Please, I really felt like, I shouldn't say this, but I almost felt like choking Luke Walton. I was like, dude, what is Brian Shaw doing? Can Mark Madsen, someone knock some sense into him? Like,
yeah, and the reason I say that I think Magic had to talk to him is because he started the game, and anyone with eyes could see that it was just off. Like, he should not have been on the court. And then yet still out of halftime, he started again in the third quarter. And I'm thinking to myself, what is going on? If Luke saw what everyone else saw, that he wasn't playing well, he wouldn't have started in the third quarter. And after the game, and then before the second game against the Suns, it was reported Luol Deng inactive, will not play tonight. And now he's not. I don't even think he's on the active roster anymore. And then
you know what's funny in baseball sometimes. Sometimes the owner or the manager, they have like there's a phone booth in the dugout, and they can make a call to the manager, and they could be like, put this guy in, put this pitcher, and take this guy out, and the manager has to do whatever the call is, and he gets a phone ring, and I think that phone ring came after that game for Luke Walton.
Yeah, because that was, I think were the Dodgers playing that night? I think, the Dodgers were playing that night, and Magic was super hype about it, and the letdown of that first game, I think Magic was like, no, this cannot go south, like, now. Like, this, no way. So I just had this feeling that happened.
You think they just gave him those minutes because he's under that big contract and he's got to do something? Like, they're paying him so much money.
But what does him playing in one game do? Like, that's true. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I'd just rather have him. Sadly to say, I'd rather just have him benched, to be honest with you, because he's a negative on the court. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he just doesn't fit with his team. Continuing to talk about the lineups, we talked about Ingram and Kuzma playing the 2 and the 3. Let's talk about this. Yesterday, this was the substitution pattern in the first quarter, which I thought was interesting. Clarkson came in for Lonzo, play the 1.
That's cool.
Kuzma came in for Nance. And then Bogut came in for Brook Lopez. Randall came in the second quarter. And Randall obviously finished the game. But yeah, that was interesting. I mean, I think I'd like to see Randall come in for Brook. Bogut, talk about
he looks
flat,
awful,
heavy-footed. Like, he can't get up and down the court. Like, he looks so slow and old.
I mean, I think the only positive thing he does is, I think, playing with the Warriors and playing with Steph, I think the only good thing I see is he definitely sets a solid screen. Like, he can set a good, solid screen, but other than that, like, I think his same thing with Brook Lopez. He feels like, I think he's heavy-footed, and he can't get up and down, and offensively, I think he's non-existent almost.
Yeah. And then the last 5 minutes in overtime last night against the Wizards, the lineup was Lonzo, Pope, Ingram, Kuzma, Randall, and Luke Walton stuck with it. He stuck with it.
I like it.
The last 10 minutes of the game. It's a nice lineup. They won the game. That was cool. Let me tell you what my dream lineup is that I would love to see this season at some point. Lonzo at the 1, Clarkson at the 2, Ingram 3, Kuzma 4, and then either Nance, Randall, or Lopez at the 5, whoever's playing well. Yeah. But that's the lineup I want to see. Like, those 4 at the base, and then whichever big man is.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I mean, I think Lonzo and Clarkson, they can play together just because Lonzo, he's just an amazing passer. But I think once Ingram and Kuzma, if they can gel, if they can put it together like possession for possession offense, and interchangeably they can guard each other's man. They both have similar length, similar height, and they can both score. And I think if those two can gel, that's going to be a deadly combination.
Definitely. Next thing I want to talk about is the Lakers offense. This has been a topic of some real conversation between us the last few weeks.
Offense?
And the offense. Luke Walton has what he likes to call his motion offense, where
Dude, it feels like it's the same thing as last season.
yeah, and that's the first point I want to talk about is this. If you had a team where D'Angelo Russell was running the point guard position and you came up with an offense for said team, if you next year switch Lonzo in for D'Angelo, you have to change that system. There's no way it's going to work. Those two are completely polar opposite players. Interestingly, I heard this. Lonzo Ball in his second game against the Suns, he had 9 assists. D'Angelo Russell did not have one single game with 9 assists his entire rookie year.
Wow.
That's how different those two players are. I mean, D'Angelo is a scorer. I mean, it's nothing against him, but that was a big mistake that I feel like Luke Walton made, was playing him at the 1 exclusively for so long, and now he's like
better too.
He's a 2, and with the D'Angelo talk we have to have it another day, because that's something I really got to get into, because he's killing it over there in Brooklyn. And anyways, yeah, that's a topic for another day. But yeah, that's the first point. Whatever offense you thought was right for D'Angelo cannot be right for Lonzo, so there has to be a change. Now, for the fans out there wondering, we're just talking abstractly, this is what my problem. This is the first problem I have with the offense. What happens is Lonzo, basically, once he crosses half court, he passes the ball. That in itself, just that sentence is off for me. You don't see LeBron passing the ball when he crosses half court. You don't see Ben Simmons passing the ball when he crosses half court. Like, these players are running the offense. You'll see Lonzo pass it to Nance or Brook Lopez, the 3-point line, and then go set a down screen or just some movement he'll make. And then he'll get the ball back maybe later. But it's like, why not just keep it in his hands? And then the second,
let him operate.
Yeah, just let him operate. And then the second point from that is, okay, so A, Lonzo's passing it right when he crosses half court. B, he's passing it to the center or power forward, who's then in charge of basically running the offense. Like, why do you want Brook or Nance to be the ones making
The play.
like the first real pass of the offense? Basketball, you got to be quick hitting. If you can get a good looking shot from the first pass, that's what you want. Like, because Lonzo's pass to the big man, that's not starting the offense. Like, he's just giving it to him to go run to the corner or something. Like, if anything, someone should dribble the ball up and pass to Lonzo at the top of the 3 to then make the play. But what I will say is this: I'm gonna give some kudos to Luke, because I saw something in the Suns game which I really liked, which I'm surprised I didn't see as often in the Pelicans and Wizards games that followed. But in the Suns game, they were doing this thing with Brook Lopez and Larry Nance where they kept setting like dual screens, like and Kuzma too, where it'd be one screen for Lonzo, and then a second later they turn back around and set another screen, and then boom, and Lonzo was getting all those layups, and it just looked good. Like, I want to see as much pick and roll and the ball in Lonzo's hands as possible. Like,
Steve Nash made a living off of pick and roll. I know Lonzo Ball can do the same thing.
Yeah, and like, that was so exciting to see, that Suns game. And Luke, please, let's do that some more. Let's keep the ball in Lonzo's hands. Let's set him screens as opposed to him passing and setting down screens. We gotta keep the ball in his hands.
Lonzo, I think he's a ball dominant point guard, but not in a bad way. Like, he's gonna be willing to make that pass. We all know that, and he's got to have the ball in his hands. He shouldn't be passing the ball and going to the weak side of the offense.
Yeah, Luke. So, question: Why do we run that offense?
Not quite sure how to answer that.
Oh, okay.
Who's that, Kobe?
Yeah, Kobe. Kobe will be guiding us through these podcasts all the time, and yeah. Next, and kind of coming to the conclusion of this podcast, I just had some interesting game notes I wanted to kind of do a rapid fire thing with you, maybe get your thoughts and. Yeah, some interesting things. In the first game this season against the Clippers, we only had the Flippers. I meant we had 3 players in double figures. Brook with 20 points, Clarkson 18 points, Nance had 14 and 12, a double-double. Those are only 3 players, and that was a bad game. That Clipper game.
That was a really bad game. Yeah, I think that first game, everyone, first game for all teams, everyone was just really figuring themselves out. There's excitement. People are nervous. Everyone's, okay, I got to shine the first game. I just noticed, I think Brook Lopez, he did score, but I felt like there was some moments where he didn't know anything else but to shoot the ball. And I think he was just catching and just putting up a lot of shots, some which I thought were bad, and I thought a couple plays or 1 or 2 plays, he actually did pass the ball, and it came out as a positive, like, I don't know, someone else got a layup or something like that. But I think he's got to find himself. Obviously Clarkson, we know him. He's going to come out and play. I just think the Lakers were just a little bit nervous, and a lot of excitement in the air, and everyone was just trying to figure themselves out that first game.
Yeah, and then also from that game, Larry Nance was the only Laker player that played at least 10 minutes. That was a positive in the plus-minus category. Yep. Next game, let's go to the Suns game. This game, there was a lot of... as great as it was, there was some fool's gold in it. What I mean, I'll get to the first point, is this. Lonzo Ball, 29 points. And a lot of people, interestingly, are saying that they think that's going to be his season high. That'll be interesting to see. But it took him 27 shots to get 29 points.
Hey, at least he's being aggressive. Everyone was stomping on him about that first game. Patrick Beverly got the best of him, and he can't do anything as NBA. I think he has to shut the haters up. And if that means taking 27 shots, who knows? What if he dropped 40?
Yeah. No, it's less about how many shots, just the inefficiency. 27 shots to get 29 points. That's just really inefficient. But what's amazing is this fact. Lonzo Ball, and this is just incredible. And this goes to the glory and potential and beauty behind this player. His 29 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists. Only 2 players in NBA history had such a stat line under the age of 21, and those 2 players are none other than LeBron James and Michael Jordan.
Wow.
And not only that. Now add this on top. I said under 21. Lonzo's 19.
Oh my God, are you serious? I'm telling you, man. This is the prophecy. I mean, the Lakers have been waiting for this. This is what LA. This is what Laker fans have been waiting for. I mean, we haven't seen anything like this since Magic Johnson. Such a high pick, such potential. Oh my God, this is amazing. Just to be in that name and with those names in that category, those 2 names, Michael Jordan, LeBron James. Wow.
What?
Yeah, absolutely insane. And then in that same Suns game, Ingram, 36 minutes, 2 rebounds, 1 assist.
Ouch. That will not get the job done. But hey, I think he had a career high that game.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, it was. He's there offensively. He's aggressive, but yeah, he's got to be a better force on defense for sure.
Talking about defense, Corey Brewer that game, defense on Devin Booker. That was fun.
Oh man, dude, he was in his jersey.
That was dope.
He was in his jersey. He was denying him the ball. You could clearly tell, like, Corey Brewer, seasoned vet. He was getting in the young guy Devin Booker, and he looked frustrated out there. He almost it looked like there were a few plays where he just gave up and he didn't even want to play that possession. He just kind of stood on one side of the court and he's like, okay, Corey Brewer's on me. I can't do anything.
Yeah, I remember he was so frustrated that he pushed Nance and almost tried to start that fight and stuff.
Yeah, no, he fouled. I think he fouled Corey Brewer really hard.
Yeah, he flagranted it. Yeah,
and then. But what I liked was, hey, Nance actually came to his backup and he kind of gave him a little shoulder and stuff. And he's like, dude, Lakers need that. I mean, with Meta World Peace, he was the guy who's the Lakers muscle, as I like to call it. I think Nance and Randall, they can be that guy to the physical guy and be able to bang around and push around and get in people's faces and get that technical foul. You got to get your teams back. You got to get your players back, and it looked like Nance had Corey Brewer's back on that.
Yeah, and last thing about Corey Brewer, Corey Brewer, I like him on this team because he is the ultimate like transition player. Like he's not in half court set. He's like useless almost, but he loves the transition. And I think you'll see a lot of plays this year where Lonzo has a throw ahead pass to Corey Brewer for a dunker layup. And he's super long and he loves playing lanky defense. And he actually at one point in his career, he had, because this is like at least his 8th or 9th year, if not 10th, had a 51-point game at one point in his career.
That was in Houston, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's surprising. So he can score. He's kind of like, he has a little bit of like Lou Williams in him.
Yeah. Next, let's talk about the Pelicans game. This game, the only note I had was that we were down 20.
Dug ourselves in a hole.
Then we went on a 27-4 run and actually
took the lead.
We were up 5 towards the end of the game, and then the Pelicans ended the game on an 11-0 run and won by 7.
Yeah, what's funny is what got us in that game was running and pushing the ball and that energy. Oh my God, the energy! I can't explain that more. I mean, the energy was just out of the building. The crowd was in it. The Laker players were just, going up and down. On defense, they were rotating. On offense, they were just pushing the ball. And then I think in the last 30 minutes, and I don't know what Luke Walton said to the team, but it seemed like I don't know if they're purposely slowing the game down, but it seemed like the game got really slow. When they slowed the game down, it seemed like they couldn't get, the Pelicans were just clamping down on the Lakers defensively, and I think that's what hurt them. I think you got to keep the defense guessing and just keep it pushing.
Yeah. Next, the Wizards game last night. I just had a few interesting things. We talked about how Nance had... Well, so listen to this. We had 2 players with double-doubles. Nance had 18 and 10. Ingram had 19 and 10. But Nance did it in 24 minutes. Ingram did it in 39. Now, this is not a knock on Ingram. It's just how crazy is that from Nance? Like, Nance doubled in 24 minutes. Like,
wow.
That's pretty good.
That is really good. Yeah, he gave us energy. He he was doing all these hustle plays. Like, he was just all over the court. He's finishing around the basket. He made his free throws. Dude, I want to see him throw in a couple more sledgehammer dunks, man. I love that about him.
Oh, yeah, they'll come.
He gets that from his dad for sure.
Oh, yeah. And then Lonzo, he had the highest plus-minus last night of any Laker, plus 13, and had 10 assists to only 1 turnover.
Wow.
Very nice, clean game.
Very nice. He seemed under control. I mean, hey, he didn't score, but hey, Lakers got that W. I'm happy.
And that's the beauty about Lonzo Ball that everyone needs to understand. Like, this is not a guy who's going to come in and average 25 a game. I highly doubt he will ever have a season where he averages over 20 points. And it's not because he can't, It's because that's just not how he plays. And his impact goes way beyond the box score. And we've talked about this all summer, how he's going to have games this year where he's going to have 8 points, 7 points, but be by and far the most impactful and best player on the court. And it's amazing to see that kind of basketball, because everyone thinks of basketball as like shooting, especially everyone in Lakerland. We've all watched Kobe, and that's what we love, scoring. And this guy is like the complete opposite spirit animal of Kobe, and it's so interesting to see. Yeah, no, definitely agree with you. I think it's contagious. His play is contagious. I said it earlier, like, man, the whole team looks unselfish out there. They won yesterday as a team game. Like, as a team, they won. Like, not one individual player made an amazing play. Yeah, Ingram had that, game, the shot at the end of regulation, but everyone made big shots towards the end of the game. And, he just, with the team that's around him, with the talent that's around Ball, including himself. I mean, he's got Kuzma, he's got Ingram, he's got Clarkson, he's got Randall. All these guys who can score. You need a passer. You need a willing passer. And I think that's what Ball gives him that Russell didn't give him. All those guys had to play behind him, whereas Ball, like, you can put him on the court. You can put anyone on the court around him, and he's gonna find him. He's gonna be able to get him buckets. Yeah, no, definitely. All right, to wrapping this podcast up today, I just want to go over the Lakers' upcoming schedule. Why don't you give me your predictions for these games? Tomorrow, which is Friday, October 27th, at home against the Raptors. The Craptors, I should say.
The Craptors, yeah. Hey, I'm going to that game tomorrow, man.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm excited. We better get this W. And I think what got us the W against Washington was, I think, our defense towards the end of the game. I think that's what's going to give our W tomorrow. We got to play that defense. That fourth quarter, yeah, I can dig it. I can dig that defense.
And then we play a back-to-back. The next day, Saturday, we play Utah at Utah. What do you think about that?
It's gonna be a good test. You know, second game of a back-to-back on the road. So obviously they're gonna be a little bit fatigued. The rest isn't gonna be there, but it's gonna be a good test for them physically. Utah's not that strong. I mean, they've lost Hayward, but they do have Gobert. They do have Rodney Hood, but Lakers. There should be 2 wins. You know, if Lakers could get these two, I can dig it. If Lakers can get these 2 W's, I'll be the happiest guy on earth.
Oh, no doubt. And yeah, remember we went to a preseason game. We saw the Jazz, Donovan Mitchell, a rookie I really like.
Man, that guy killed us.
Yeah. So yeah, that should be a good game. And then we play at home against Detroit on Tuesday, Halloween. Contavious Caldwell-Pope maybe get some revenge against his old team.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, he's.
That's a winnable game.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have a chip on his shoulders. Detroit, I don't think is that strong. I think KCP is gonna go out there, prove a point. Like, this is what you guys are missing.
And then a good test on Thursday, an away game against the Portland Trailblazers.
Ooh, you got the backcourt of McCollum and Lillard. That was gonna be a good test for Lonzo. Lonzo's gotta be ready for that.
Do you win or loss? Or?
I mean, I'd like to see a win, but being realistic, I think Lakers are probably going to lose that.
Okay, and then then they play the next day a back-to-back at home this means we got to do the D'Angelo talk next week because we're playing against the Brooklyn Nets. D'Angelo Russell is playing at Staples Center next Friday. That's the game I'm most excited for out of all of these, to see what D'Angelo does. I think D'Angelo's gonna come out to prove something for sure. Yeah.
And KCP's gonna be guarding him. Clarkson's gonna get a shot at him. So I don't know. There's gonna be a love-hate relationship in that game for sure.
Yeah. That about wraps up this podcast today. Thank you so much for listening. Please do us a favor and follow us on social media at GTLA Lakers 818_podcast. And we'll catch you guys next week.
Tell your friends.
And lastly, shout out to the artist that made this beat. The artist name is Fleslet. Track's name is Money Problems.